Welcome to the bold analysis, ladies and gentlemen. We've started the month in a sad note, and indeed, a very sad note. A sitting member of parliament, Kasipul, member of parliament, being gunned down in the city roundabout is a shocking, high-profile assassination that cannot be downplayed at this critical moment. And someone was sending a message. I want you to take time, relax, and watch this podcast. I've seen what the mainstream media is saying. I've gone through what the bloggers are saying. I've tried to look at every corner of the incident, and I can promise you that this is going to give you a different perspective of the incident. Kindly subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell and like our videos, and thank you very much for supporting this podcast. Subscription is absolutely free, and advantage is when you subscribe to our channel, you'll be receiving notifications whenever we publish a video. I received this information yesterday at around 8:30 p.m. And I was in Bomet. And I turned and I told the person who was seated next to me, and I told him an MP has been shot. I didn't tell him where. An MP has been shot, dead. And one thing he asked me, Kevin, are you guys safe? So let's go on. Immediately, the member of parliament was shot. According to report, it was around 7:30 p.m. An hour later, the news came out. And immediately, the story of Charles Ongondowere's murder, assassination, came out. In fact, the whole thing, the murder is an assassination. I saw social media saturated with photos of his dark political past as high-profile mainstream influencers was trying to justify the murder of the MP looking at his criminal past. And one of them that was in that scheme I saw this post from Aoko. And Aoko was making several of these posts last night talking about how the MP was also involved, talking about his dark past. And he said Ongoro was a thug and Ongondowere was a thug and died by the gun and this. You can see this. Ongondowere was a thug. Those who live by the gun are inclined to go the same route. Last year, his driver killed Kidero's bodyguard. Prior to that, a woman had also promised a job, mysteriously disappeared from his home. And these stories have been going on. These stories came to justify that murder. And with all due respect to people of Kabondo, this is, and I looked at this, what was my worries? The assassination. Immediately, the MP was employed, was murdered. What I saw is a seductive trap of emotional manipulation. And that was manipulating people's emotions to only look at a revenge scheme, but question the profile of the murder. In a country we proclaim and are yearning for justice and equitable society, yet in the same breath we marvel at what is clearly an extrajudicial killing of Kasipul MP Charles Ongondowere. And citing his criminal past as a justification is actually lionizing the killers. This is the truth, we must say it. The assassination of a member of parliament at a city roundabout cannot be executed by the village folks that we are talking about. That was a big fish. And that is it. It is what it is. In fact, I saw the sister-in-law in Nairobi hospital last night saying his killers are known.
Ongondowere was my brother-in-law, and Ongondowere was a stout politician, one who would never miss sessions of parliament. It is not in darkness that Ongondowere had had his life threatened, a matter which he had already reported to the DCI. And I want to say this with my eyes strictly on the cameras, that the perpetrator of this particular murder is known. And there is a way of violence that is creeping up in Homa Bay politics.
It's actually, and part of the emotional, seductive emotional trap. I once, and let me put it in form of a question. When the MPs were debating the BBC expose, there is one from Northeastern who spoke of people die and we move on. This one here, very reckless.
And nevertheless, it has come at this time, a time that we have really moved on. We spoke about that issue in this house, discussed it, sympathized, mourned our fellow Kenyans who passed on during that day. However, it has come at this time again. As much as we agree that our fellow Kenyans lost their lives, unfortunately, but we also moved on.
And Kenyans took that video and said, oh, MPs, they said Kenyans died and move on, so this should die and move on. Do you agree with that? No? Why? I want to tell you why. While we can advance and talk about the politics of Homa Bay at the center of it, but what must worry you and I is the ease of murder. And someone was sending a message justifying assassination of a member of parliament in a highly protected area like the city roundabout is the lowest point the country can sink to. The ease of murder. How easy is it? And someone is sending a message. Guys, I'm seeing, these are my red flags. The MP was shot, allegedly shot by assassin in Ngong Road, around that roundabout, around 7:30 p.m. He's rushed to Nairobi hospital, and we've seen photos of people rushing to Nairobi hospital. In the same car, there was his driver who was not shot, and his security. But look at the person who broke the news, Robert Alai, MCA. MCA, a blogger. MCA can blogger. It is Robert Alai who was the first person to post it in Twitter. By the way, I saw it 5 minutes after he posted. He's the one who broke the news. And I want us to imagine ordinarily, the MP is there. The body of the MP is been shot dead there. The driver is there. The members of the public are there. Tell me, who is the first person to know? If the driver is there, si akona namba ya watoto wake na familia yake. So I'm very sure the family are the ones even to release the information. But the people who broke news, the person who broke news was the blogger. Alai breaking the news of the MP is part of what, according to me, is a red flag on how that assassination was to be made a low profile. Look at posts from Sifuna and Raila Odinga. From where I'm seated, a man who had even mentioned that his life is in danger. Look at this.
Before the latest fracas, I went into a funeral in Gundown-Orengo, which after the funeral, the road was blocked. I could not pass. Luckily enough, I had the security. The following day, in a funeral in Nyatindo, immediately I arrived there before even praying. One of the notorious criminals who comes from Kenyan called a boy stated that I will not talk there. The villagers there were angered. What happened and the process are within investigating agencies, which I don't want to address. I've been very keen for the last 6 months, including the latest.
So it was in public domain that he was worried about his life. An ODM member of parliament, the polished ODM secretary general, and his party leader, Raila Odinga, made posts about that. I just want you to look at the post, Sifuna. And Sifuna commented about this 8 hours the next morning on Thursday morning. My condolences to the family and friends of Kasipul MP Charles Ongondowere, fondly referred to as Sir Charles. Even in times like these, we can only say it is well, Sir Charles. No mention of ODM party. As ODM party, we expect speedy investigations into blah, 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 blah. This post is too plain and not pushing what we are. I'm not seeing the voice of probing the murder. If you think, let's look at what Raila has posted. We have lost a gallant son of the soil. Honorable Charles Ongondowere is no more. Mercilessly in cold blood, gunned down by an assassin in Nairobi this evening. Rest in peace, Honorable Charles Ongondowere. Digikwe Ogaima Milambo. I'm not seeing Raila demanding speedy investigations. I could be asking more, but not even DCI has issued a statement about that incident. And to the bare minimum, there was a gun in the wrong hands. At least, even if they should talk of a gun that was in the wrong hands. Not even them. Someone should ask me, give me an answer. Raila is in the country. What I would have expected is them coming out to speak about this matter and demand accountability for this. And don't flock this comment section by let's move on. That is not the voice of this podcast. I want us to look at some scenes since Charles Ongondowere died. The first scene is City Mortuary Roundabout, the place where the MP was shot. You need to figure out and ask yourself a question. I know, why City Roundabout? That is shocking because people feel that that is the most protected area where there is traffic ya watu, traffic people, and the mortuary is just by the side there. Did someone expect that after he's shot, probably can be dragged to City Mortuary? Probably no. But why that place? It is sending a message of ease of murder. And that is the message. Who is safe? Who is safe? Kama mtu anaweza pigwa kwa that and is an MP. Look at that. Look at that. If you look at the same area, the Daystar is just opposite side. I believe there's CCTV footages. At around the roundabout there is that red nini yenye ukivuka to the red light hivi unapatikana. So it's under 24 hours surveillance. Someone cannot be shot around that area and then hajapatikana. But the ease of it happening is interesting. Number two, as we still talk about the city, the roundabout, there is a story about him being killed by, there is a story about him being killed and it links to Homa Bay politics. Then why not Homa Bay? Why did the assassin choose Nairobi and such an area? And that's why I'm saying, stop telling us about the village folks. No, that is a big fish. Let's go to Nairobi Hospital last night. Some few things happened, and I want you to watch this video. When the journalist went there, hiyo kitu imefanyika. The vehicle had already been towed and taken there, but then that vehicle was not taken to the police station. No, it was taken to Nairobi Hospital first. And the journalists were locked outside until Mwenje arrived. And I want you to watch the video of Mwenje arriving. The journalists were even asking Mwenje to allow them to get along. Waingie, walikuwa wameblokiwa nje kwanza.
Yes. Yeah. So you're coming here for this? Yes, yeah. Okay.
Yes, for Gundown-Orengo.
Okay, okay. Sasa waambie waturuhusu tuingie so that we cover together. This Citizen TV.
I'm the deputy minority.
Sawa. Haya, tuingie pamoja. Amesema tuingie naye.
Hakuna kupita hapa.
So wakaingia. And in that place, I saw the DCI boss and IG Kanja were present. Yes, they were present there. But I believe that was a very critical scene that I needed to see more. And what do I mean? In Nairobi Hospital, the first people to arrive there were clique of the MPs. And interestingly, only Homa Bay MPs. And I think the only one who was not from Homa Bay who was there was Junet. But I see a contingent of Homa Bay MPs, majority they're the ones who are there. And the sister-in-law, Lilian Gogo, the Rango MP, is the one who spoke there. And even talked about them knowing who killed Were. Now, at that point, I was expecting the ODM battalion to emerge and their voices to be heard. And let me make a comparison. When, in 2023, when Matiang'i was raided by DCI, and at the height of that Gen Z protest, Raila Odinga is the first person who arrived there. And he made a plea. You know, he made a point that now, you know, at least he'll shake the system. After such a murder, I think we needed a voice that can shake the system, not a Twitter post in Karen. No? I believe Raila would have been in Nairobi Hospital. And while ile place Lilian Gogo anaongea, they're talking about we want to know the killers. I believe that. Not even the ODM leadership. Not even the parliamentary leadership. Not even the speaker. In fact, an MP is dead. Do you know the parliamentary leadership, apart from the speaker, the majority and minority leader are yet to be able to put a comment about it. Enda angalia post Kimani Ichung'wah. So why am I showing you all this? I want to tell you, there seemed to be a systematic there seems to be a very good strategy to downplay the murder, to downplay that assassination, to make it look a bit casual. Current residents, that is on Thursday morning, I saw Opondo Kaluma there. Opondo Kaluma, while there, is already been instructed by the speaker to plan for the burial. Too fast, too easy, it is the priority.
Yes, I'm in that difficult position where I've been appointed by the Speaker of the National Assembly and the head of the institution of Parliament, the Right Honourable Dr. Moses Masika Wetangula, to lead the team of MPs in preparing for the burial and the last send-off of our brother, the Honourable Charles Odour.
Yes, the burial will likely happen. It will happen, that's absolutely no problem. But I'm seeing not the voice that we want to hear. Let us be clear. The assassin who ended Were's life is not the village fox we are parading in Facebook. He's a cold-blooded machinery, and this must be a trained killer whose services can be sought or be bought by highest bidder. Today targeting a politician, tomorrow it could be you or me. To lionize such a figure is to invite chaos. Remember, like even the deceased had already expressed fears on his life. I insist, you cannot celebrate such a murder. And I want you to look at the way Kenyans are reacting. Kenyans are saying so many things. Oh, I got this one. Listen to this one.
Raila Odinga baba, Raila Odinga mwana, Raila Odinga Roho Mtakatifu. Baba, mbona watu wako wameua Ong'ondo Were? Ong'ondo Were has not died a natural death. Ong'ondo Were has been assassinated. Ong'ondo Were has been shot dead in Nairobi by people allied to Raila Odinga. Ong'ondo Were has been killed for political reasons. Wajaluo, leo hii mmefika level yenye nyinyi kwa nyinyi mnauana. Mjaluo unaua mjaluo mwenzako kwa sababu ya kisiasa.
Let me tell you, allow me to take you back to Nairobi Hospital. Winnie Odinga was even confronting the investigative team about passengers who were in the deceased car.
You're gonna cut out.
Who the hell is in charge here? How can these people be going in the crime scene? Sure.
No, they've been told to go in. How can they go inside the crime scene?
Why are they in the vehicle?
Why are they in the vehicle?
Why?
Yeah, but why should they be there in the vehicle?
I don't have
No, we don't, but why should they be in the vehicle?
I don't care what you cut out. I'm asking, why are these two passengers in this vehicle? Who's in charge of it? What sort of crime scene is this?
You see,
Yeah.
Cameraman is contaminating. So the suspects, the people who are there, they're traveling.
Why should they drive in the crime scene?
Doesn't matter. So what if they were part of it at the time?
we would also be thinking.
Think of that first and do action. Yeah, it is not right.
Don't contaminate the scene.
Location.
And there was some confusion in that Nairobi Hospital. In fact, she was asking what exactly is going on. Look at that. So I believe that we need to speak. And the tragedy of it all is that people are quiet. The only person I've seen talking tough is James Orengo.
I'm prepared to go back on the streets. This is not a country to be proud about. This is a country where now the young people, the Gen Zs, you have to come out and we are prepared to join you. In Kenya, our institutions are under trial. There's no single institution that is not under trial in Kenya. If you go to the Supreme Court, there are a lot of questions that are being raised about the principal judicial organ, the supreme organ in the country called Kenya. There are questions. On the issue of the Constitution, and here I'm with Raila Amolo Odinga, devolution is under threat, and until we are prepared to fight for the Constitution and not for the little things.
Now, this is my voice, and this is my position. The true enemy is not Were's alleged past criminal record, but the festering rot within our criminal justice system, a lethargic, compromised, and corrupt apparatus where an assassin can be brave and confidently gun down a member of parliament in unprotected area. That begs more question, and I believe even the members of the parliament must be wary about this. Kenyans must reject the seductive call to rationalize murder. When the MP spoke in parliament of people have been killed, so we need to move on, he was rationalizing murder. When an MP is gunned down in such a manner, and all we do is to go to pull some photos, and I'm not saying he didn't kill those people, and then pull some photos and justify that this person needed to be gunned down because of that, then we say we are rationalizing murder. So, let me ask you, is it then cool to revenge? And this is my 5-point agenda. This is my 4-point punchline on why the country must get worried of the emergence of political assassins. I was telling the person who was sitting next to me, I came to Nairobi today in the morning, and I was telling the person who was sitting next to me that it is not about the fact that the MP has been killed. Maybe that is not news. What is news is the manner and the environment, the message being passed. Why people need to get worried. When the dissident and Gen Zs went on street, guns were sent and they were killed. And the next, it went to abductions. Now, it is political executions. And whenever we handle it casually, and MPs have been, and Kenyans are made to believe that that is the order of the day, then don't you understand that our 2027 elections, the competition, however much tough, however much competitive they are, the sanctity of life is under attack. Let's advance the theory that his political opponents are the ones that have done it. And they decided not to do it. They decided to do it early, not at the time when they're going to elections. Then is that still fine? Let's try to advance it as a deal gone wrong. Nowadays, there's so many deals happening here. Wash, gun, nini. Is it still cool? The second reason why we must get worried. The broad-based house is crumbling very fast. It is crumbling very fast. MPs are speaking ill about it. My governor is stood his ground. That is not something he supports. And if that can be normalized, then many will fall by the wayside. How about the president is in a very precarious condition. And there are people around power that wants to retain power. How about if this is a danger message to those walking out of the broad-based? And I'm not saying the MP was walking out. But these are some kind of the interpretations. If If you speak to MPs or even people around power, these are the conversations they're talking in the corridors. The finance bill has just been tabled in the National Assembly. An MP has been murdered in such an easy way. Who will feel safe if he goes against the grain on that finance bill? And you can see the way President Ruto is very fearful of that finance bill until there is, for the first time, they're talking about not adding any tax. Number 4, political realignments are happening. The Rigathi team are organizing themselves, and people are moving from one place to the other. They're jumping. Who will dare break ties with the system? If they realize the system is that easy that you can be terminated within a second. I repeat again, the country cannot celebrate an assassination in the altar of political revenge or just emotional manipulation. On this one, the country must have the right conversation. Thank you.